Hello and welcome. Today we are going to be going over some easy DIY-able gift ideas that you can make last minute this holiday season for your friends and family. These would be great white elephant gifts or just regular gifts to give this holiday season. Let's jump into the video. Probably my favorite DIY that we're gonna do. It is this picture frame that is made into a ring holder. I see these all over Pinterest. It's so beautiful. It's perfect for your bedside, and I went thrifting and found the perfect frame for it. I searched high and low. You don't have to do such an ornate frame. You can do something that is a little bit more farmhouse or whatever suits your family member's style. There's endless amounts of picture frames that you can get at the thrift store, so let me show you the one that I got. This is the picture frame I'm going to be using for this project. I started taking the tag off, but it is from Goodwill and I paid $4.49 for it. I love this beautiful detail on the top. It is gold. It's going to be perfect for who I'm gifting it to, so let me share with you other supplies that you're going to need for this DIY. All you're going to need is the cardboard, your frame, scissors, hot glue, some batting, and some fabric. Here's my batting. I have it doubled over just to make it easier for cutting. We're going to make these just a little bit wider than the cardstock and then about 10 inches long. And then I'm gonna cut it in half so we have two pieces. I want to see what it's going to look like if I cut these in half because that seems very bulky. So yeah, so I think 5 inches instead of 10. Yep, 5 inches instead of 10. I think a total of 7 will be best. 7 little 5-inch squares. Oh, I'm going to hot glue these onto this cardboard. Trying to think of the easiest way to do this, but honestly, it's probably going to be rolling them up, hot gluing them so that they are closed, and then hot gluing them onto here. I think that's going to be the easiest way, so just do it. So cute. Now we just have to put the fabric in it. I'm gonna test it in the frame. So I'm gonna put hot glue in between here and I'm going to stick the fabric down. Lot of overhang so that we can fold it underneath and hot glue it, and then we will trim it all up after that. I have it all trimmed, so I am going to flip it over and I'm going to hot glue all of this fabric on the back so that it looks nice and clean. I'm going to start with the corner. The corner is going to be the hardest. I'm going to pull taut as well. I lied. I'm going to start with the top and the bottom because that needs to be tight. Corner. I'm going to fold it downwards and then I'm going to fold it up. Okay, let's see. I'm going to put this all together. We have our ring holder. I'm going to take this sticker off, but I wanted to show you just to test it out that the ring holder works. Okay, let's go clean up this frame. I'm so happy with how this project turned out. I'm going to be making one for myself as well, but I'm excited to gift this to the person I have in mind to give it to. Now that we did a no-sew project, I think we can kind of step it up a notch and do a sewing project. What do you think? We are making this really cute eye mask. This is a great scrap busting project. I was inspired by one that I saw on Pinterest. This is a little bit different. I will leave everything that you need down in the description box below, but I found a pattern for a kitty shaped eye mask, and I will be making one for myself and I will be making one for somebody else. I currently have a sleeping mask that is like too tight around my head. It has Velcro, but it hurts my head still, so we're gonna be measuring so that it's the perfect fit around your head. The things that you are going to need is a pattern of some kind. You can make your own or you could purchase one. I think this is a free pattern. I'll try to find it. I've had this in my pattern stash for a really, really long time. So I will see what I can do in the description box below. You're going to need some batting. I've had this batting since last year. I used it to make a quilt for my dad. Fabric scissors, pins, some fabric. This is a great scrap busting project. And then I'm wanting to use a like silky lining. This is fabric from my rehearsal dinner dress, but this fabric will go like touching you eyes, so it'll be nice and soft. And then you're going to need some elastic. I bought a bunch of these fold over elastics that came like this on Amazon, so I'll link those below as well. They're great for small projects. I was using them when I was making underwear, and it's not enough. Not enough for an underwear project, but it's going to be the perfect amount for our eye mask project. I'm also going to use some lace for the little kitty. Let's get started. I'm going to cut this one out. I love that it shows you what you need to cut. I'm not gonna do any interfacing, but you are more than welcome to. Our pattern is cut out. I've pressed my fabric with an iron. It's not perfect, but it's better than what it was before. I'm going to cut this out. Last time we used a rotary cutter for our sewing project, and you could totally do that today, but I wanted to show you that you don't have to have fancy tools to do a really cute project. I'm going to use my fabric scissors to cut this out. These notches on either side of the pattern are actually for where our elastic goes. So I'm actually going to cut right into those notches. And then I'm going to take the pins out. I'm going to do the exact same thing with our exterior fabric. I have my batting doubled over, and we are going to cut the same pattern out of batting. I folded it over so I can cut two at one time, but you can obviously cut one at a time if you don't feel comfortable cutting two. The last thing I want to do is cut out some lace. This is a stretch lace. I just have this in my stash also from making underwear. I want to have the scalloped edge, like probably right at the notches, I think is a good place for it. And I'm just doing the same exact thing, pinning and cutting it out. This time though, I am going to put a pin in the center because it doesn't go all the way down here. So we want to make sure that it is secure while we are cutting it out. I'm going to go to the sewing machine and I'm going to sew the lace overlay on. I'm going to sew it around the ears and then also into the lace so that it lays flat. I'm just gonna throw a couple pins in it. Let's go sew this. I have the lace sewn on. I'm going to take the elastic and measure out 11 inches. That's what the pattern calls for, but I think I'm going to do 12 and a half. I measured it on my head and it just seemed like 12 and a half inches fit my head better. I clearly have a large head. So we measured out the desired length and then I'm going to cut it at that length. Where we cut the notches in the fabric on either side is where we're going to put our elastic at. We're going to tack it down. I'm going to do the shiny side facing down. I'm going to stick a pin in it, and you'll want to go to the sewing machine and tack down right here. I have my elastic sewn on. Now we're going to make our fabric sandwich. So first we're going to take one batting. We're going to put the exterior right on top facing upwards. And then I'm going to do the lining, good side, so the more shiny side, to good side of exterior, and then more batting on top. Now we're gonna pin this together. The more pins that you use, the easier time you will have sewing this, especially because it is pretty bulky, so you'll want to go slow at the sewing machine. I'm going to sew all the way around, leaving this section open. Again, you want to go slow when you're sewing because this is bulky, so it can get away from you really easily. Take your time with this project. I'm going to go sew this and show you what it looks like once it's sewn. Here's our fabric sandwich. I'm going to do some trimming of the seam allowance. I'm going to clip the ears. We're going to cut to the stitches, but not through them. I'm just going to do a little bit of trimming, especially around the corners. And then around the curves, we're just going to clip. Let's turn this right sides out. I'm using a small crochet needle to just poke out my corners. You want to be careful with this that you don't pierce through the fabric, so use something that isn't sharp. I'm going to use an invisible stitch to sew this hole closed. I have threaded my needle, and now I'm going to do an invisible stitch on the top of our project. I'm first going to start by inserting the needle through the inside of the hole and then out through the outside. This one I'm starting on the exterior. I'm gonna turn it around because it'll be easier for me to sew. I'm stuffing the tail in, and then I'm going to fold over the raw edge of the lining and the exterior. I'm going to place my needle through, in and out of the lining fabric. Pull through. I'm going to take a stitch just a little bit further back from where the needle last came out of, and I'm going to do the same exact thing on the exterior fabric. This is a little difficult since this is kind of like stuffed. To tie off your thread, you're going to pull up a loop, insert your needle through the loop, pull the loop tight. Now you have another loop, and then you're going to put the needle back through that loop and pull it tight, and that makes a knot. And then I'm going to insert my needle through the seam and out through the other side of the fabric, pull tight, trim, and you have an invisible stitch. Here's how the eye mask turned out. It's absolutely stunning. It fits my head so well. I'm glad that I did 12.5 inches. Isn't it cute? I could just take a little night-night right now. This is the perfect gift to go with other things. You could make some scrunchies to match. You could do a little hot cocoa packet in there, or maybe even make some brownie mix that you can gift to them so that they can make some homemade brownies. And even a blanket would be really nice to go with this, and do like a little basket. Okay, so this next project is also a sewing project, but this one is even easier than the last one. People use robe ties to do heatless curls. So I'm going to make a curling rod, I guess you would call it, for heatless curls that you can sleep in. It's gonna be cushiony, so it's not gonna hurt your head. And then we're gonna make some matching scrunchies for it as well. You're not gonna need a lot for this project. You will need polyfill to stuff it. You will need a silk or a satin fabric. This is a satin fabric and it's kind of a grayish purple in person. It looks really like gray on camera. I got 8 inches of this fabric so that I can make 2 of them, and I'm gonna make them 2 inches wide, but we're going to cut them at 4 inches. And for our scrunchies, you're going to need a 1/2 inch braided elastic. That's what I'm going to use to make our matching scrunchies. Let's cut this fabric out. The first thing I'm gonna do with this is just even it out with my rotary cutter and my ruler so that we have a better idea of where to cut and it can be more even. So I'm gonna cut this strip of fabric at 4.5 inches so that we have a 1/2 inch for seam allowance. This is about 4.5 inches and I'm just going to cut across. Now you have one long strip that is 4 inches wide. This fabric does fray, so I'm going to go ahead and serge it together like this, but you can use a zigzag stitch and it should be completely fine. And then we're going to turn this right sides out. I cut the pieces for the scrunchie at 15 by 4 inches. I'm going to sew the short sides together first. I'm going to sew the short sides at 1/4 inch seam allowance. I'm going to finger press open my seams and then I'm going to fold them in half, and then I have this part to fold in half. This is called the burrito method. I will link a video on how to do this so that it makes more sense, but you want to stuff it inside itself. I think just to be easier, I'm going to sew 3/8 of an inch seam allowance because I don't want these to be that big. As you sew, once you come to like an end, you're going to pull it, match the seams, make sure you're not sewing of any part of the other innards parts, and then you're going to sew. You don't want to sew this all the way closed, so when you get to the beginning, you want to leave about 1 inch for turning. I cut my elastic to be 8 inches long, and then I'm going to put the elastic right through the center of my burrito, meet them together, tie this in a knot just like you would be tying a balloon. You want to pull the knot at the end, make it really tight, and then we'll find the hole and flip this right sides out. Here is your scrunchie. So then you will want to sew this hole closed with an invisible stitch, or if you use matching thread, then you can just do a top stitch. I don't have any matching thread, but the person I'm giving this to I don't think will care. Do a top stitch. Our scrunchie sewn, and we sewed our big tube of fabric. We're going to be stuffing this tube. So I have my polyfill here, and I'm literally just going to start stuffing it. I also have a crochet hook to shove the polyfill in there. Hello, husband.
Hello, beautiful. What are you doing?
I have it wrapped in my hair so that you can see what it looks like when it's in your hair. I made it pretty long so that somebody who has longer hair than me would be able to use it, and then you would just go to sleep in it and take it out in the morning and you would have pretty curls. These are heatless curls as well from a different heatless curler, but it's essentially this. It's just a tube. I put my tag on the ends and I just sewed them closed. It's essentially just a tube with stuffing on the inside, but it'll be comfortable to sleep in. They have matching scrunchies to go with them. And the way that I would wrap this is put the scrunchies on the ends of here. And then I would kind of twirl it up, and you can make some like printable instructions on how to use this if they've never used one before. But I think this is a great gift for any lady in your life or any long-haired person who wants to have heatless curls and protect their hair from heat damage. Let's take a little break from making some things and let's go thrift some gifts. Show you what I got from the thrift store, and then I'm going to show you how I would wrap it all up. I'm gonna be doing two gifts. So the first one, I got this basket. I paid $2.49 for this basket. It's cute, and then it can be reused for home decorations or storage. Also got this little basket, which I felt the same. It can be used again for Easter or just some home decor in the bathroom. I found this teapot and I absolutely love the floral design on it. I love that it's like kind of speckled and the flower is really, really beautiful. And then the wicker handle is really cute as well. There is a small chip on the very, very front of it that I don't think really anybody will notice. It's not going to affect the way that it works. For that gift, I found some cups to go with it, some little teacups. I only found 3, and there was a lady in line who helped me decide if I was going to get 2 or 3 because I wasn't sure if 3 was weird. But I'll show you what they look like up close. They're really beautiful. They have a similar vibe going on. These are Nordic Progression China, made in Japan. The style is Blue Moon 9022. Anybody knows what that means? Let me know in the comments down below. I paid $2.49 a piece for these cups. And then I found this little jar for $3.49. I love the texture on it. The top comes off. It is like a sealed jar, so whatever you put in here will stay for a little bit. I found this Bath & Body Works candle that has never been lit. This is Japanese Cherry Blossom. That's one of my favorite scents. I absolutely love Japanese Cherry Blossom. And it says Bath & Body Works on the top, but it doesn't say it anywhere on the side, which I liked. And I paid $3.49 for that. And this is really exciting because I will be able to use what I don't use later on for something else. I found all of these glass amber jars. Some of them have like pumps, some of them have like squeezy tubes. I paid $5.49 for this bag, and then I also got this bag, and these ones have the blue glass, one that's green, and they have just like a screw on top. So I thought that would be great for other things. I could use them for other things like spells or what have you. That is my haul. let me show you what I would do with each individual gift. So the first gift is this tea set with this basket. The first thing we have to do is get these stickers off. The best way to do that is with a damp paper towel, and basically you will get it wet with warm water and just stick it on, and then the stickers will just peel right off. So I'm gonna do that. Here's my wet paper towel, and I'm literally just going to rip and stick it right on there, and I like to press it down to make sure that it's actually like getting the sticker wet. And then I'm gonna leave it for like 5 minutes. So I'm gonna do that to all of my jars, even the ones for our other gift. I'm gonna let those sit for 5 minutes and then we'll peel the stickers off. All right, it's been 5 minutes, which means it's been no minutes for you because of editing magic, but basically they just peel right off. I'm gonna go take this all over to the sink and wash it and dry it, and then we're gonna put everything together. I have now washed and dried everything. I took the tag off of my basket. I'm gonna start building the basket. I'm first going to start with the tea kettle, and then I'm going to add my cups. And in this cup, I'm going to put some tea. I have a ton of Lipton tea. Add this right into the basket. I have some ribbon left over from my wedding, so I'm just going to tie some ribbon around here. Here's what it looks like all finished. I'm really, really excited to give this for the white elephant gift. I think anybody is going to really love this. For the last basket, obviously take the receipt out. This is going to be like a my favorites kind of a basket. We're gonna stick our candle inside. I made some little labels for the glass bottles. Then I'm going to add my favorite moisturizer in here, which is the CeraVe Daily Moisturizing Lotion. And I'm literally just going to pump it in there. Put the lid on. My favorite face wash is the La Roche-Posay for normal to oily skin. So I'm just gonna do the same thing and add it into here. And now we have my 2 favorite skincare products that I will add to the basket. And for our little jar, I'm going to add some Epsom salt. This is the rose Epsom salt. I like the lavender one too, but the rose one just smells divine. Add the lid. Then we can take our basket and put it in our basket. Now we have a basket of all of my favorites, and I'm going to take some ribbon, also from my wedding. I think I'm gonna tie it right in front. All right, here are our gift baskets with all of our thrifted items in them. I absolutely love how they came out. I think this one is my favorite only because honestly I want to keep this teacup set for myself, but Kyle would kill me because we have so many cups. I don't need any more cups, and I really think that somebody's gonna love this. And this basket is so great to personalize anything, and so that you can share all the things that you love with your loved one. What do you think? What do you think of all the things Mommy got? For this last project, we are gonna be sewing again, but it is another easing sewing project. So if you're new to sewing, These projects would be perfect for you to test out your sewing machine and give your sewing skills a whirl. This is the state of my oven mitts. I clearly touched the hot part of the oven. We're going to be making some really cute oven mitts for you to give to your friends or family members. If you are a beginner sewer, this is the perfect project for you. It doesn't require a lot of fabric. It doesn't take very long to make, and anybody is going to love this. Like if somebody made this for me, I would be freaking stoked. This pattern is a free pattern. It's a printable PDF. I will have it in the description box below so that you can print it out and put it all together for yourself and make some oven mitts for your friends and family members. I went thrifting with my mother-in-law on Black Friday and found all of these fabrics. I was thinking about quilting this because this pattern is for a quilted oven mitt, and it would be so cute. However, I do not simply do not have the patience to quilt anything. I'm not a quilter. I like easy projects, so that's what we're doing today because I'm sure you're going to be feeling the same way. And then I have this Pellon 975 insole fleece. So basically this allows heat protection. First we have to tape together this pattern. Simply going to cut one end of this pattern. I'm just going to cut this right here. And then we're going to tape it together. Now we're just going to cut out the oven mitt. Now all that's left to do is pick out our fabric and then cut it out of fabric. I totally forgot I had this fabric left over from when I made one of our bridesmaid bags. If you haven't seen the video about me making bridesmaids bags, I will leave it in a card up as well so that you can see how those turned out. Now that I've picked my fabric, I'm going to place some pattern weights down. I have the fabric doubled over as well. These are washers from the hardware store, so they're really, really inexpensive pattern weights. Pattern weights are so expensive. I have my rotary cutter. It makes it so easy to just cut out patterns. Look how stinking cute. Okay, I'm gonna cut a lining as well. Let's go sew these together. When I'm sewing these together, I'm sewing the shiny side of the insulated fabric to the wrong side of the outside fabric. Does that make sense? I'm just stitching around the edge so that it keeps the fabric and the batting as one piece. Let's sew the lining. I'm going to be sewing these right sides together. The lining seam allowance is 1/4 inch. Around the curves, you will want to clip notches in the fabric. You want to cut to the stitches, but not through the stitches. This will help your fabric lay nicer. And then in the thumb area, you want to snip in each corner there. And then all the way around. I have this seam binding tape that I'm going to use as the little hook for our oven mitts. It's nice because it's like pre-finished. You'll want to sew your exteriors right side together just like we did the lining fabric. We're going to use the same seam allowance as well. We have both the exterior and the lining sewn together. I forgot to tell you to leave a hole in the lining side so that we can turn it right sides out. And all we have left to do is put this inside of here and sew the top closed, and we have a mitten. So I'm stuffing this inside, making sure it is right direction. I put a little tab on the exterior, so we're gonna tuck that in. You want to match the side seams together, and then we're going to sew around this hole to close it up, and then we will open it up through this hole and stitch that hole closed. So I'll be right back. All that's left to do is turn this inside out. Well, right sides out. Now we just have to sew this hole closed with a invisible stitch. You could also, because this is going on the inside and nobody's gonna see it, you could put a seam right down here and insert, like if you had a tag, like I have tags for all of the stuff that I make. So I'm gonna go do that real quick and I'll show you what it looks like when we're all done. I sewed my tag in. Now we are going to stuff the lining right into the oven mitt. Dun 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 dun. Look how cute this is. I absolutely love it. I'm so glad I made this for myself because I was in desperate need of new oven mitts. I tried to make another one so they would kind of be matchy-matchy. I tried to quilt it and I sewed the wrong sides together. So I decided to take a break and move on for the day, and I can come back to it another day and finish it later on. But one is better than none considering the way that my other oven mitts looked. I'm going to be making several of these for my friends and family members. Thank you so much for joining me today on these easy DIY-able last minute Christmas gifts that you can give to your friends and family this holiday season. I know it was a lot of sewing, but I believe in you, and I think that even if you have like no knowledge of sewing, that you can still make these projects. You'll just kind of, I don't know, I just really think you could do it. I think anybody can sew. You literally just push the pedal and go. So if you have a sewing machine but you don't know much about sewing, I think you can still give these a try. I hope you loved these project ideas, and I hope they inspired you to make something for your friends and family members this holiday season. Don't forget to subscribe, share this video with a friend, and I will see you in next week's video.